Welcome back to the Bankers Masterclass series in association with Visa Business Solutions on harnessing new payment flows. I'm Joy Macknight, Managing Editor at The Banker, and I'm joined by Alan Koenigsberg, Global Head of New Payment Flows at Visa Business Solutions. In the third chapter of this four-part series, we're exploring how emerging technologies can be deployed to help modernize the correspondent banking industry. Alan, thanks again for coming back.
Thanks.
So we talked a little bit about regulations like PSD2 and open banking in Chapter 1, but there's other regulations that are also making an impact on cross-border B2B payments, especially around compliance. What kind of impact is anti-money laundering, KYC regulations having on this area?
There's a huge amount of thinking going on about how to adapt processes and technology to deliver best-in-class anti-money laundering or compliance solutions to financial services. I mean, in the research that we discussed earlier, this is on the mind of obviously banks, but of corporate treasurers too, having a solution that a corporate can plug into to affect global cross-border solutions. So there's just a host of technologies. The cost of non-compliance is very, very high. So when you're adapting to a payment process, or you're a bank in looking at how you de-risk your own markets, this rate's at the top of the list.
So you brought up a very interesting point there, which is really around the de-risking that's been happening in the correspondent banking network. You know, how do you think that the industry as a whole can modernize itself and really deliver, especially on the compliance issue?
I just think the status quo is no longer something that we all can look at. I mean, we look at companies that are scaling quickly. We look at technologies that are moving much faster. I think that the correspondent networks have to adapt to those changes and have to be able to, accommodate the needs of their customers.
So my question is really around how Visa is modernizing, but also deploying some of the emerging technologies that are really coming to the fore today.
Visa has prided itself in being leaders in payments for decades. I think when we had to rethink of what a global cross-border payment is, it's very simple. It should be predictable, reliable, with data, and faster than what's being delivered today. And of course, compliant, and in terms of all baked into one application. Employing enterprise blockchain DLT technology, forward-leaning technologies in order to deliver solutions that scale to what the customers need and can be delivered in markets all over the world.
And I know Visa has its B2B Connect. Can you tell me how it really addresses the pain points that we were talking about in the previous chapter, which is really around, traceability, predictability, timing, and compliance?
So when you rethink the way payments on a global cross-border basis should be made, which we did, we think that it's really relatively straightforward. And it is about all the things that you just mentioned: data integrity, compliance, being able to deliver something on a multilateral basis, and frankly, democratizing the way payments are made, making it available to any bank that wants to effect a cross-border global payment. It shouldn't be that difficult. And that was really the ethos around how we redesigned or rethought the way global cross-border should be made on B2B Connect.
In the final chapter, we'll look at how removing geographic barriers that no longer really need to exist in the B2B payment ecosystem will enable the evolution of digital payments.